Well, I'm going to let you live. Let's get it started, big dog, with the Cowboys. And Dallas' season to forget continued last night against the Ravens. Baltimore literally ran all over Dallas, finishing with nearly 300 yards on the ground. The Cowboys have now lost 6 of their last 7 and are in last place in the NFC least. Mike McCarthy said after the game, quote, "The fourth quarter of the season is upon us. Our goal is to finish strong." Acho, let's start strong. Any chance Mike McCarthy is one and done in Dallas?
Big dog, there's absolutely a chance. And I'm so grateful that people are finally taking what I said back in week 6.
You did.
Seriously. You have to at least heavily consider Mike McCarthy being one and done. And there are several reasons why, but let me talk to you about 3. As a head coach, I look for 3 things that I believe you should be able to do. Number 1, can you choose your staff and can you delegate well? Number 2, are you a great leader of men, a great motivator? And then lastly, number 3, can you make great in-game decisions? 3 things. Can you choose your staff and delegate well? Are you a great leader of men? And do you make great in-game decisions? Well, Mike McCarthy clearly doesn't know how to choose a staff. Why do I say that? Defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan, was the 32nd defensive coordinator last in the league in 2014, the last time he was a defensive coordinator. And where do the Cowboys rank right now as far as rush defense? Dead last. But you know there's some solace, because the Cowboys' pass defense is actually top 10. But then I realized, wait a second, they're dead last in passing touchdowns given up. So the Cowboys have given up 2,000 yards on the ground. Tampa Bay leads the league, only giving up 890. And the Cowboys give up the most passing touchdowns. So Mike McCarthy doesn't know how to delegate, but surely Marcellus Wiley, this former Super Bowl head coach, is a great leader of men. Wait a second. The only time I've seen you lead your troops is when Andy Dalton has a comeback victory, but your whole squad doesn't know how to play with effort. Your own defensive backs told us that, and they don't know how to take up for their quarterback. So Mike McCarthy's not a great leader of men, but then I said, wait a second, he's won a Super Bowl. Marcellus consistently reminds me he's won a Super Bowl. So clearly he can make great in-game decisions, but wait a second. Week 2, Atlanta Falcons, you go for a fake punt? Down by 14 in the first quarter? Wait a second. Against the Washington football team, you're only down by 4. You run another fake punt and blow the doors open for Washington and let them run away with that W? So, Sel.
Yes.
When I look at all the criteria that make a great coach, and then I look at Mike McCarthy, I see no attributes that make him currently a great coach. Cowboys have to at least consider him being one and done.
All right. That was a strong take. I can see you dressed for the part and you lived the part. I love that about you, Acho. Way to rebound, big dog. First thing, before I even get into my take, stop saying wait a second. You said wait a second like 60 times. Why don't you just say wait a minute once? And you know what? I ain't got to wait a second all 60 damn times. No, all that said, big dog, you know you're wrong on this take. And it was well stated, but it just went to the wrong destination. No, he shouldn't be, and no, he won't be one and done in Dallas. Let me just start off by laying the foundation right here. The foundation for this season in his first year as the Dallas Cowboys head coach is this. Coronavirus changed the entire offseason to the point where they almost had no offseason, no preseason, compromised training camp, and virtual meetings to get acclimated to this system. Let's just start there. Then you lose your QB1. And he didn't lose his QB1 like the LA Chargers did with Tyrod Taylor, when really your QB2 is actually better than your QB1. You lost the best quarterback on your roster. Just had to lay that foundation and preface everything I'm going to say by that. That's why, in part, Mike McCarthy should not be one and done in Dallas. Now, let's talk about what he's done since he's been in Dallas. Culturally reset this team. And that's tough to do, especially in 1 year. We're not even finished with that 1 year just yet because the fourth quarter is upon us. But when it takes time like that, you have to be patient through that process. Most people out there, their greatest, biggest transaction will be the purchase of a home. For a franchise, one of its biggest acquisitions will be the head coach outside of his franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott. So when you look at those two things, what's in common? You need comps. Let's talk about the comps. When you're buying or selling a home, you know you need the comps. When you're talking about a head coach, let's talk about the comps. All right, Bill Belichick in his first season in New England, not even going to count the Cleveland years where he was losing 3 out of the 4 seasons in Cleveland. First year in New England, 5-11. Oh, but you know what happened? Won a Super Bowl in his second year. Interesting. I wonder what Acho would have said in that 5-11 season. Would he have given him a one and done, or would he have given him a pass so he could win the Super Bowl the next year? What about Jimmy Johnson? 1-15 and in Dallas his first year. Won a Super Bowl in years 4 and 5. I wonder if Acho would have been patient through that process. Bill Walsh, 2-14 his first year. Won a Super Bowl in his 3rd year, become a historical coach. Kyle Shanahan, right now, who is a losing coach with Jimmy G. You take Jimmy G out the equation, he's 6-24 as a head coach without Jimmy G. Is he on the hot seat? Was he one and done? No, not at all. I mentioned all of those coaches, those 4 coaches, and I put them in that order, and I combined them all, and none of them had a Super Bowl championship for equity before they were in a situation like this. So why would Mike McCarthy be one and done, Acho, when he already has the equity and he already is on a projection that may turn around based on what he did in Green Bay before?
So it is not that you lose. It is how you lose. You talk to me about Parcells, 5-11, Shanahan, all these other great
Belichick
coaches.
was 5-11.
It's not that you lose. That's not the issue at hand. It is how you lose. Peep this. We talked about Sean McVay, one of the greatest young coaches in the game of football right now. He is 33-0 when he goes into halftime with the lead. 33-0. But how come Mike McCarthy has a losing record, Marcellus Wiley, when you take halftime with a lead? That is a clear indictment of coaching. Marcellus, please also, you have to stop talking to me about former equity. I am not trying to indict Mike McCarthy for his past success. I am trying to talk to you about present value. You just brought up stock market. I'm not talking about past success. I'm talking about present value. There was a day that Marcellus Wiley was one of the best pass rushers in all of the game of football. There was a day, when Marcellus Wiley had a club rip move. Hey, when you had a club rip move that couldn't be stopped.
That did rip.
But Marcellus.
What?
That dip rip. Oh, it was nice. But do you still think that would work? No.
If I did
it wouldn't. Because what you were as a football player is not what you still are as a football player. What Mike McCarthy was as a head coach is not what Mike McCarthy or who Mike McCarthy still is as a head coach. The problem is you were letting Mike McCarthy rest on the laurels of 2009, rest on the laurels of 2010. But all we have to do is look at recently. You know the guy that replaced Mike McCarthy, Matt LaFleur? His first 28 games, he's 22-6. Mike McCarthy's most recent 28 games, 8-19-1. You're talking about similar teams. You're talking about the same Aaron Rodgers. And don't talk to me about the lack of the Dak Prescott. I'll get into that later. But the Cowboys were 1-3 with Dak Prescott as a starter finishing games. If you want to bring up the last time the Cowboys were bad with Tony Romo in 2015, when Tony Romo got hurt, at least they were 2-0 with Tony Romo. They were good with Romo. With Dak Prescott, the Cowboys were still struggling. So I look at Mike McCarthy as the fixed factor. Let's not talk about all the excuses as to why he's struggling.
God, I write so many notes when you talk because you just take me all over the place. I'm talking housing market, you talking stock market. I'm talking about Bill Belichick, you talking about Bill Parcells. I love you, Acho, but damn it, take the earwax out your ears and rock with your boy. You're talking about, how you lose matters more than if you lose. This ain't college football. This ain't the BCS where we care about the complexion of a game. It's about wins and losses. We're talking about 2 different things. I'm talking about patience in a process. The same process that saw Mike McCarthy in Green Bay take a 4-12 bunch, and in 5 years, they won a Super Bowl. After going 8-8, 13-3, and then boom, Super Bowl championship. But Acho's not patient with that. Acho is not respecting that process. So, hey, patience is a virtue, and it's rewarding. If you don't want to go there, I will go there. Let's not talk about past equity all the way exclusively. Let's talk about present day in terms of status, in terms of reputation, and in terms of should you stick with Mike McCarthy. I'm going to name some names, and Acho, stop me when you hear a bad coach's name. Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, John Gruden, John Harbaugh.
I might stop you at Gruden.
We got to stop? We got to stop?
I might stop you at Gruden.
Really? Okay. Sean Payton.
In the last decade, I might stop you.
In the last decade? Oh, okay. I'm talking about the entire person, but you want to carve off his last decade.
Okay. Continue.
You in your 30s are suspect so far as too. Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, Doug Peterson. Anybody? Maybe you can stop me there. Oh, you don't want to stop me because you were in Philly. And Mike McCarthy. I just named you 9 coaches. Oh, who are they? All active NFL coaches with a Super Bowl ring. Oh, is he in good company? Yes. You know why he's in good company? Because he earned that, Acho. Equity is not given, brother. You got to go earn some of this when you're talking about a head coach. And I'm looking at Mike McCarthy in a situation. It's in turmoil. It's in flux. It is certainly fluid. You lose your QB1. Oh, that's fine. We got one of, if not the best, backups in Andy Dalton. Oh, we lose our QB2. We go to QB3, QB4 with no offseason. But Acho is sitting here pushing the panic button, saying it's over for you, Mike McCarthy. Despite you've turned around a franchise before, despite you being in a company of other great coaches, oh no, there's no way you could be a